911, what's your emergency?
Viewer discretion is advised. Angie was driving her BMW X1 on a highway in Canada when she approached a yield sign at an on-ramp. Another driver ignored the yield sign, cutting into traffic and forcing other drivers up ahead to slam on their brakes. Angie was following too closely and couldn't stop in time and rear-ended a Jeep. Luckily, the Audi driver behind her managed to stop a few inches short of her bumper. Angie filed an insurance claim and her BMW was deemed a total loss. Since the value of used cars has skyrocketed, she actually got back exactly what she paid for it over 20 months ago. The Jeep that she hit had a steel bumper that didn't even get scratched, so the driver didn't even bother to file an insurance claim. George was driving in Florida when a woman driving with her boyfriend in the passenger seat went barreling across a grass median. She claimed that her boyfriend had caused the incident by grabbing the steering wheel. In the background, we can even hear her yelling at him. He ran off, leaving his soon-to-be ex-girlfriend behind to deal with the situation.
Hey Siri, call 911.
George called the police. His car was drivable, but his insurance provider totaled it later due to the extensive damage. Jared was driving in Winston, Oregon when a Cadillac Escalade overtook him on the left just as another vehicle made a left turn across traffic right into the path of the Escalade. Jared pulled over and assisted both drivers. The driver of the Escalade was taken to the hospital, but Jared later found out he was okay. Before Jared was dismissed by the Oregon State Police, he heard from a state trooper that the 16-year-old driver of the other vehicle had admitted fault. That admission, along with the dashcam video, made this an open and shut case for the driver of the Escalade. Zachary was giving a friend a ride to work when a Honda pulled out between two cars. A police report was filed, and the lady driving the Honda was found to be at fault. Zachary's Kia was still drivable, but it happened to be -3 degrees Fahrenheit that day, and the radiator was damaged, so it was a cold drive home. This submitter was driving on snowy roads in New York when a Honda Pilot in front of him swerved into the opposite lane of traffic to avoid a Prius. That's a confirmed Honda bump. Christopher was driving in New Jersey when a Honda in front of him failed to notice that traffic ahead was slowing down. All the drivers involved pulled over to the side of the road. That's another confirmed Honda bump. Ryan was driving in Bristol, England when a motorcyclist came blasting down the wrong side of the road. Ryan swerved to avoid the biker, but this left the driver behind him with no chance to react. After stopping, Ryan ran over to check on the biker and found he was okay. The police arrived at the scene and Ryan gave them his dashcam footage. The biker was breathalyzed and taken away by the police when it was discovered that he was intoxicated. Angelo's grandpa was driving his Ford Mustang in Concord, California when a car in front of him suddenly stopped and he wasn't able to brake in time. This caused a multi-vehicle accident, but luckily everyone involved was okay. Angelo's grandpa filed an insurance claim a couple of days later. The insurance company was quick to determine the Mustang a total loss. Gabe was driving back to school for his second semester of freshman year right after Christmas break. It was a 10-hour drive to Indiana from northern New Jersey. Watch what happened when he was about 30 minutes away from school. When the accident happened, the guy who was driving in front of him actually turned around to make sure he was okay. Gabe happened to turn into the driveway of his friend's house, and his friend also came out to see if he was okay. They both hung around until the cops arrived. Thankfully, this happened so close to school, he was able to get picked up from the police station by a friend. Gabe contacted his insurance provider, but they told him his policy didn't cover random occurrences like deer collisions. He had to pay the $6,500 repair bill out of his own pocket. Thankfully, his grandparents graciously helped him with half of the bill. Alexander and his friend were on a road trip from Bulgaria to Greece. While on an island in Greece, a driver in front of them wasn't paying attention and swerved off the road. She hit a massive rock and the car bounced over it. They stopped to make sure she was okay. She had a baby with her in the car who was screaming, so at first, they feared the worst. It turned out the baby was just scared and the woman was shocked. Luckily, nobody was injured. Here's a video from another Mediterranean island, Malta. The video is from Alexa, who sent us this video of a Mazda crashing into a Mercedes. What's spectacular about this video is that the Mazda started to roll coal after it hit the Mercedes. I've never seen that before. Gabriel was going to work in Brazil when a motorcyclist fell in the lane to his right. Gabriel noticed that there was a trail of oil going all the way down the lane and continuing into the intersection. Gabriel and other drivers tried to warn the other motorcyclists, but some didn't listen and another crash happened. Gabriel was already running late, but he saw other people stopping to help. Till was driving on the Autobahn in Switzerland when a merging car cut over the solid line and really freaked out both Till and the other driver to his right. Ben was approaching a green light when it turned yellow. Since he saw the Lexus in front of him accelerate, he did the same. The driver of the Lexus then changed his mind and braked at the yellow light. Ben tried to stop, but due to rain and slippery road conditions, he couldn't stop in time. The front right corner of Ben's car was severely damaged. Ben filed an insurance claim, and the repair took 3 months to complete because the parts had to be shipped from Japan. Daniel's dream car is a Tesla, but he drives a Honda at the moment. Being a regular viewer of Wham Bam Teslacam, he knows all about the Honda bump phenomenon.
Should I do it?
No, Daniel, don't do it! This is our first video submission from India, and it's from Ravi, who was driving along when a dog ran out right in front of him. Luckily, he managed to stop and the dog was fine. Emilio was driving his new 2022 Mini Countryman S and was testing a new Garmin Dashcam when a car almost ran a red light and hit a cyclist. Emilio is a cyclist himself, so he saved the video just in case the cyclist wanted it. Eduardo was on his way to the post office on a Wednesday afternoon. Traffic started to pick up ahead when, all of a sudden, he heard a loud bang. An SUV had rear-ended a pickup truck. After Eduardo arrived at the post office, he watched his dashcam recording and realized he probably should have stopped to provide a copy of the footage to the victims. Hopefully, they were able to sort everything out without it. Johnny witnessed a truck driver who must not have been paying attention as he crossed a double yellow line, almost hitting a girl in a pink Jeep head-on. It was a close call, but there was no collision. When Johnny drove past the Jeep, he noticed the girl and her passenger looked very shocked and shaken up. The work truck kept going and proceeded to run 2 stop signs. Johnny tried to send the video to the company that owns the truck, and they either didn't receive it or decided not to respond. It isn't Johnny's intention to get anyone in trouble, but that could have been a very bad accident. Michael had parked in a hospital parking garage to pick up his wife and newborn daughter when his truck was hit. Michael didn't notice the damage until he pulled up to the entrance and rolled his baby out into the fresh air for the first time. Congratulations to Michael and his wife on the newborn. Remember, your car is just metal that can be repaired. H2 is a sheriff's deputy in Minnesota, and he knew there was going to be severe weather in the area. He went to where he believed he'd have the best chance of seeing a tornado. He apologizes for the poor quality, but he was stuck using the dashcam that was installed in his Ford Interceptor. His department has installed newer and higher quality cameras since then. That afternoon, he saw one tornado touch down south of where he was positioned. A few moments later, when he turned east to follow the tornado, he saw a second one about a mile east of the first. He followed them east until the second one turned north and crossed the road he was driving on. This put him between the 2 twisters. After the recording ended, he got out of his vehicle and ran to a house to ask if he could use their basement as a shelter if necessary. Fortunately, both tornadoes continued east and he was no longer in any danger. According to the Minnesota National Weather Service, the first tornado he saw was an EF0 and the second was an EF1. The estimated peak wind speeds reached 85 miles per hour. The total path length of both twisters was 7.7 miles. In total, there were 16 separate tornadoes that day. There were no reports of any injuries or deaths, and reports of damage were limited to uprooted trees and minor structural damage to nearby buildings. We've got to say, it is so cool to have a sheriff's deputy share a story with us. That's definitely a huge milestone. This new channel is off to an epic start. Be sure to subscribe for even more epic stories to come.